Jedi was no ordinary soldier. With a flintlock blaster in one hand, capable of delivering precise shots with the power of 1,000 musket balls, and a lightsaber forged from the ancient Liberty crystals, Washington was the beacon of hope in the darkness that covered the 13 colonies. And then there was Benjamin Franklin, the Yoda of the Revolution. Wise, cunning, and always a few steps ahead, Franklin's mind was sharper than his lightsaber, which he personally modified to discharge bolts of lightning, perfect for frying any redcoat Sith foolish enough to cross his path. But the colonial Jedi were not without opposition. The redcoat Sith, led by the Dark Lord Cornwallis, had crossed the Atlantic, bringing with them the dark side of taxation without representation. Their red lightsabers blazed like the very flames of oppression, ready to extinguish the light of liberty forever. The battles were fierce, and the stakes higher than the price of tea in Boston Harbor. At Bunker Hill, the colonial Jedi held their ground, their flintlock blasters firing energy bolts that could punch through the toughest redcoat armor. With each pull of the trigger, a burst of light and smoke, a fusion of the old and the new. And who could forget Thomas Jefferson, the Jedi Knight who penned the Declaration of Independence with one hand while wielding his lightsaber with the other? It was he who gave voice to the rebellion, declaring that all men are created equal, with the inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or, in this case, the right to take down a few Sith Lords. The final battle came at Yorktown, where the forces of light and dark met in a cataclysmic struggle. Washington and Cornwallis, Jedi and Sith, fought with the full might of the Force behind them. Flintlock blasters cracked through the air like thunder, while lightsabers sliced through the gloom, each swing a testament to the fight for freedom. And when the dust settled, it was the colonial Jedi who stood victorious. Cornwallis defeated, surrendered, and the force of liberty triumphed over tyranny. The Sith were driven back across the sea and a new hope was born, a republic where the force of freedom would reign supreme. But the story does not end there. Knowing that the dark side could rise again, the Founding Fathers in their final moments channeled all their power, their wisdom, and their hope for the future into one single powerful crystal, a crystal of liberty. They knew that one day the force of liberty would need a new champion, someone worthy to wield this ancient power and restore balance when the force of freedom was once again threatened. For generations, the crystal lay hidden, its power waiting for the right moment, the right person to awaken it. And then, one fateful day, it was discovered by a man named Austin Peterson, a libertarian, a modern-day freedom fighter who would fulfill the destiny set in motion centuries before. The crystal called to him, and with it, Austin took up the mantle of the colonial Jedi, determined to bring balance back to the force of liberty in the United States. Through his show, the Wake Up America show, Austin Peterson became the voice of resistance, the spark of rebellion against the creeping darkness of tyranny. With the power of the Founding Fathers' crystal, he fights not with lightsabers or blasters, but with the force of truth, reason, and unwavering dedication to the principles of liberty. So remember, young Padawan, the fight for freedom is never easy, but with courage, unity, and a little bit of force on your side, even the darkest Sith can be vanquished. May the force of freedom be with you, always.
Oh, say, can you see, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, can that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning, Rise in Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Today's the 10th of September. It's 7:03 a.m. It's time to get the show started. Hope you guys are feeling good. Glad to have Frickety here alongside Courtney Conover, Quest Fanning, Drew Van Runkle, good to see you, as well as Bruce Burt Whistle, Blue Trike, Sidewalk Closed, Kermode Bear, Joni Rankin, and all of our friends here this morning. If I missed someone, I apologize. Thanks so much, Quest, for getting them Rumble Rants started this morning. Hey, Flambe, Mr. Tenderson. Glad to have you here. The Wake Up America show, streaming live. Don't forget to click that like button. Let's get this show on the road. We've got a lot to discuss this morning. Yes, there is a debate happening tonight. Some people are talking about that. We will discuss it. But frankly, everybody's distracted by Haitians eating cats in Ohio. What? No, allegedly. Some people reported it. It was originally posted in a meme, which means confirmed true. But then the police came out and said that they had no reports in Springfield, Ohio of Haitians that were eating cats, which means confirmed. It happened. The government says it didn't happen. That's the evidence that it did happen. Cat Dad 21 this morning. Might want to watch yourself if you're the dad of cats. Hope you don't live in Springfield, Ohio today. What's up, Cat Dad? Glad to have you here. Just kidding. Can't anybody take a joke anymore? The reports are that the Haitians are not eating cats. I don't know if they're eating cats. They're alleged to have been eating cats, but they definitely are eating like geese out of parks and ducks as well. It's the weirdest, wildest story, and frankly, I just think it's hilarious. So we're going to talk about it. The memes about it are really dang good. We're going to laugh about those. We're going to post the pictures and the memes. We're going to talk about it. We're going to use the word allegedly, and we're going to have a lot of fun about that. Drew Van Runkle says he's in Ohio, and there is a cat colony that lives behind a Fujiyama in Columbus. Just saying. If you're hungry, head on over to the Fujiyama, beyond the Fujiyama. But residents are complaining. They're appearing at their city councils. I've got some of the videos of the people of Springfield, Ohio, talking about what's happened now that the third world has been imported into their city. And I've got some God, the memes are hilarious. At 7:30 this morning, we're going to speak to Maxim Lott. He's the co-founder of electionbettingodds.com, co-founded that with John Stossel, and he's going to talk to us this morning about the latest polls and not only the official polls happening here in the United States, but also the election betting odds, where people are taking their own money and putting it down to bet on who they think will be the next president of the United States. We're going to hear from Maxim again this morning at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. He's always a great interview, and I look forward to having him here at 7:30. At 8 o'clock this morning, we're going to speak to a new guest for his very first time on the Wake Up America show. His name is Sam Rogers. He is an Army vet and Wisconsinite, and he's going to give us his take on the ground in that crucial swing state of Wisconsin, what he's hearing from his community and his voters, what he thinks could happen in Wisconsin. He's also going to talk to us a little bit about the debate tonight and give us a sneak preview of what he thinks it's going to be like. I've also got a new segment that I'm working on here for the Wake Up America show, and I hope that you all will sort of work with me as I seek to sort of formalize this new segment. It's going to be a new series of segments on self-defense, and I'm going to do it not exactly on a regular schedule, but more of as these kind of video clips pop up, I can share with you some of my self-defense background and history and martial arts, and talk to you a little bit about how you might handle a situation like what might have occurred in the video that I'm showing you for that day. Today's video features a transgender person in a gas station with an axe, swinging it at the people in the convenience store. So we're going to talk to you about that. And just a little personal side note, and I know this is just like something that's a victory for myself, and I know it doesn't really mean much to anybody else, but as you go up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, at the very top of the pyramid, you reach this concept of self-actualization. And I had something happen to me. If you follow me on X, you probably heard it. But I actually just got bumped up to sensei this week. So I will be taking over teaching classes, at least temporarily, from what I understand, but maybe permanently. I don't quite know just yet. But I will be taking over teaching karate classes with Jefferson City Parks and Rec for our karate class here in Jefferson City, Missouri. It's a big deal for me to go from student to teacher. I've been doing Japanese karate, since around 2006. And I've studied several different types and styles of Japanese karate. And I was asked to step up and to start teaching the class. So I become a professional martial arts instructor next week. I'm excited about it. It's just one of those personal victories that you have in your life. Stephanie and I were talking about it the other day, and she's really happy for me because there are some things in your life that are goals, even if you didn't say them out loud or really think, oh, this is what I want to do. But after having been, training karate for 20 years, it was, I guess, the logical next step. So if people ask you, Austin, what is it that you want to do when you retire in your golden years? I want to teach karate and own a scuba shop on the beach where I take tourists out and, teach scuba diving or take them out on tours or something like that. And maybe I'll combine my passions in my retirement years and I'll teach karate scuba, underwater karate scuba. What do you guys think? Quest Fanning asked a great question. Says, what's above sensei? Senpai? Actually, senpai is below sensei. A senpai is if you are in Japan and you have someone who is of a higher rank than you, who is older than you, that you respect, but they're not your teacher, that's a senpai. A step above a sensei would be a shihan. And so shihan is like the master. And so I'm not a shihan. I'm just going to be a sensei. So very exciting. So we're going to teach you guys a little bit of self-defense here on the Wake Up America show when I play that clip for you at 8:23. We're going to talk about how to defend yourself against that kind of attack. And I'll share with you guys some of my martial arts skills, things that I've learned in 20 years of training Japanese karate. And lots more clips to go. Again, if you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, don't forget to click that like button. And just a reminder that you can text the show and let us know what's on your mind. 573-319-1586 is the text line. Again, you can send us a text anytime, night or day, on the Wake Up America show at 573-319-1586. Those text lines are open, and I'd love to hear from you. If you guys have any questions, issues, problems with my face, then you can head over there and send me that text. Rapapa. Boyakasha. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will have similar goals tonight in their debate to knock their opponent off balance and to define themselves as the best candidate to lead the United States in the coming 4 years. The debate's going to be hosted by ABC News and will take place at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. The big questions tonight that people will be looking for will be things like, can Donald Trump stay on topic? Many people who are familiar with Donald Trump would know he's kind of a master at what's called the Gish Gallop. I talk about this frequently. It's considered to be a fallacious style of debate, but it can be very effective in addressing or like throwing many things at an opponent, hoping that something sticks, and then only feeling like you have to defend one topic or another. Trump's very good at this. So the question will be, can Kamala Harris sort of take advantage of that? Before President Biden exited the race, Trump's handlers were apparently we're content to just let Trump be Trump. But with Harris now the Democratic contender, they've been ramping up efforts to try and keep Trump disciplined and on message in the hopes that he doesn't alienate some critical voters. Because if you remember, many of the polls showed that minority voters, female voters, were starting to break for Donald Trump's camp before Kamala Harris took over, and they all realized that, oh my God, we've got a black woman here. We need to support someone who is of a certain race or gender, because that's how Democrats think. It's the sad truth, but that's the reality. Apparently, Donald Trump's debate advisors are Florida Representative Matt Gaetz. Interesting. But the second one I think is even more interesting. Tulsi Gabbard is one of his debate preppers, and she knows more than others. She was one of the ones who took Kamala Harris to the woodshed when she debated her in the Democratic presidential primary when Tulsi Gabbard was still a Democrat. Of course, a lot has changed, and now Tulsi Gabbard is, I won't say she's a Republican. I know she left the Democratic Party. I think she considers herself to be an independent, but she has experience debating Kamala Harris and is now prepping Donald Trump to help him beat her. Nikki Haley said Monday that Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, needed to change the way they speak about women. You don't need to call Kamala dumb. She didn't get this far, just by accident, Haley said. She's a prosecutor. You don't need to go talk about intelligence or looks or anything else. Just focus on the policies. When you call even a Democrat woman dumb, Republican women get their backs up too. Very true. And another argument in the misogynist camp right there, Haley, not the argument you thought you were making. Another point for the misogynists. Just as Trump pointed out moments from during the first debate when Biden lacked coherence, Harris, who's 59 years old, has an opportunity to criticize Trump, who's 78, when he says anything that is hard to follow or strays from the question. So now Donald Trump may have some of his own, may get a taste of his own medicine tonight if he stumbles or stammers or sounds as if he's off his game. It's something he's got to look out for. You got to watch out. Can Harris separate herself from Biden? We're going to be looking tonight during the debate to see if Kamala Harris is successful at separating herself from the disastrous legacy of Donald Trump. Courtney Conover in the chat says, I like that Tulsi has been helping coach Trump tonight. He really does need to not be baited and stick to policy. Yes, very true. Kamala Harris had said, I'm talking about an era that started a decade ago where there's some suggestion that the measure of a strength of the leader is based on who you beat down instead of where I believe most Americans are, which is to believe that the true measure of strength of a leader is based on who you lift up, she said. Harris has also tried to put some distance between herself and the current administration on policy specifics. She took a step in that direction last week, for example, when she took a less drastic increase in the top capital gains tax rate than what Biden had outlined in his budget blueprint earlier this year. So Frickety is asking, AP, is that flannel you are wearing the one with the Gadsden snake and don't tread on me on the back? Well, Frickety, I'd have to take it off and show you, or I could just turn around, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let you guys guess and head over to forlibertyshop.com and see what he's talking about, because you can actually buy an AP flannel at forlibertyshop.com. This is a perfect example, perfect time for me to remind you that you guys can unlock bonus content on the For Liberty Network's Wake Up America show. So during the live stream in the next 2 hours until 9 a.m. Central this morning, all of the donations and purchases that are made at forlibertyshop.com will count towards a $60 total. If we hit $60, then you guys get to see today's bonus content instead of going to commercials when we have our guests on the show. So we typically have a bit of a 5-minute break where I get to, go to the bathroom, get our guests fixed up in the screen and come back. And instead of watching commercials, it's way more fun to watch the bonus content that we produce. So this is a good way for us to monetize the show, incentivize you guys to make Rumble Rant donations, YouTube super chats. And some of you guys I see even on YouTube have made super chats in the past. People I think like Dash and others. Thank you. But I think the most fun thing to do is to go to forlibertyshop.com and make a purchase. Fall is here. It's time to check out the flannels that you can get with our awesome Don't Tread on Me Gadsden snake on the back. Thank you very much for reminding us about that. We appreciate you guys. Frickety says he has one in black. Very cool. You can get yours as well at forlibertyshop.com. Let's get them Rumble Rant donations started, guys, so we can hit that $60 total by the end of the show. Right now, we have $1. Thank you to Quest Fanning. We appreciate that. So if we hit that $60 total, guys, then again, we will unlock that bonus content. All right, back to the debate previews for tonight. talking about what to expect. Question is whether or not many of them, either of them, are going to fill in the blanks on their policy plans. I wouldn't get my hopes up about things like that. Kamala Harris and Trump both have very broad, very unspecific proposals that they've made orally. And when it comes to Kamala Harris's campaign website, well, there's nothing there. Nothing there. Actually, I think I was the Babylon Bee this morning that was saying now Kamala Harris's policy or issues page just links over to Donald Trump's website because she's copied so many of Donald Trump's policies at this point. So will the muted microphones matter? This is an interesting question. So this debate is coming after they've had this big, long back and forth about, one, whether it should take place, two, which network should host it, and three, whether the Harris campaign should be bound by the debate rules that are agreed to by Biden when he was the nominee. The debate's going to have the same rules as the first presidential debate, meaning a candidate's microphone will be muted when it isn't his or her turn to speak. The Harris campaign pushed hard to undo this rule, but the Trump campaign, which once harumphed over the rule, has advocated to keep it. So in that sense, Kamala Harris is not going to get to say, excuse me, I'm speaking, and they were thinking that she was going to get a chance to try and filibuster Trump and interrupt him because people really love it when a black woman interrupts people and tells them that they're speaking, apparently. You've seen this on mugs now. This is like part of their merch strategy is like, silence, a black woman is speaking. And you're like, yes, but we're all trying to listen to a movie right now. Could you just quiet it down, please, ladies? So those are things that we're going to be watching out for tonight. Haitians in Ohio. It's a wild viral claim that is snapped up and memed by Elon Musk, Republican influencers like me, and even former President Donald Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance. But it also stems from a serious problem. Are migrants from Haiti grabbing pets out of yards and ducks from public parks so they can eat them? Fact check. Partially true. Partially true. Now, Springfield police said that migrants turning pets into pate, thank you, New York Post, was, quote, not something that's on our radar right now, which means it's definitely happening. A city spokesperson said there have been no credible reports or specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the migrant community. Listen, I saw it on a meme. Shut up, City Council. We're all trying to have fun. But speaking of City Council, residents are appearing at their City Council in Springfield, Ohio, to ask questions like why the 20,000 Haitian migrants have been just dumped in their city with no means to take care of them. Take a listen to this gentleman.
I think it's like kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out from doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun because I see what's going on in these streets and I see you guys just sitting up there in them comfy chairs and suits and I'm getting out here every day and I'm broadcasting this and you guys are just sitting up there in suits or something. Like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into, they flipping cars in the middle of the street.
Okay, but are they eating cats is the important question. So they're flipping cars, no big deal. I love how the media has been covering this as well, because if you search this story right now, you will find story after story in the mainstream media talking about this, right? And none of them are talking about Haitians ramming cars into buildings. None of them are talking about the residents of Ohio showing up to their city council meeting and complaining about the trash or the danger in the streets. They're not talking about that. All of the articles are debunking J.D. Vance's claim that pets are being eaten by the Haitian immigrants and how racist it is that J.D. Vance claimed it. So if you go and you look it up, that's most of the stories, just debunking the fact, okay, so they're doing all this other stuff, but they're not eating pets, and we're going to focus on this one thing that they were wrong about, or that we don't know that actually, you can't say that they're not eating pets at this point. There haven't been confirmed or reliable reports. All it is we've seen it on a meme, so it must be true, right? Frickety says there is a video of Haitian car accidents. If you could find that, send that over to me on text. I appreciate that.
I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them.
They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck. I mean, you're never gonna get as much attention on a presidential debate. When Americans hear that 20,000 Haitians have invaded Springfield, Ohio, and they're grabbing up ducks by their neck, that story that's just gonna be national news. Grabbing up ducks by day neck. Grabbing up ducks by day neck. Are you guys ever go fishing and they would have that picture on the wall that said Mr. Ducks, Mr. Not, and you had to read it and you couldn't understand what it said, and it was like MR Ducks, MR Not, OSAR, LIB, MR Ducks.
And eating them
Sorry, it's like a redneck fishing joke here in mid-Missouri.
Y'all get the Highway State Patrol down here every week, and then y'all get like a task force for the Highway State Patrol. And they look for guns, and they look for dope, and this and that and the fourth. That same people that y'all got riding up and down Limestone doing U-turns, pulling people over for blinkers and pulling people over for going left to center and a couple miles over. Y'all can take them same people, the Highway State Patrol, and you can take them in every single one of their silver Chargers and Dodge Durangos, and y'all can take them to Sunset, and y'all can park them right over there, and y'all can teach people how to drive, since the Highway State Patrol knows so much about traffic laws and know what to do in traffic.
So what does he say? Let me interpret this for you. I speak J. What's the airplane line? I speak J. I speak jive. I speak jive. Okay. I speak jive. Here we go. So he's saying that the highway patrol is spending a lot of energy and time pulling over people who cross the center lines or commit small traffic infractions. Meanwhile, you have these Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, committing actual crimes, driving cars into buildings. They have no idea how to drive. He says you ought to have the highway patrol and teach these people how to drive, because it's gotten so dangerous out in the streets of Springfield because of these Haitians driving anywhere. They have no clue how to do it.
Y'all pay them. They can go over there and teach these Haitians how to drive, because it's getting bro. I'm getting thousands of views on these, and it's going to get bigger, and it's only going to get worse. And y'all sitting up there in these chairs, all y'all need to get out here and do something. Y'all making hundreds of $1,000s. Y'all need to put on a t-shirt and some Crocs, and then y'all need to come out here in these streets, and y'all need to go out here and I'm out here before the police is.
So he's talking to the city council right now. Apparently they're all dressed up to the nines in their suits and stuff. He's like, you need to put on some t-shirts and some Crocs. You need to get out here in the community. You need to fix this stuff. Thank you, Mighty Megatron, for the Rumble rant. Says, you bigots. Don't you know these poor people don't know any better? How dare you question their culture? Diversity is our strength and future. Thank you, Megatron.
Y'all need to do something, bro. Y'all really got to stand on business. Y'all getting paid all this money just to wear a suit and sit in a chair. I think it's crazy, bro.
He wanted to say
he wanted to say it. There's kids out here getting hurt. Only reason I even went on here and said something about it is because somebody told me they walking from the school and a Haitian almost ran into them. And who is getting paid? How much money is y'all really getting paid, to bring them over here? I know. I
got to be so careful when I'm taking sips of my Founding Flavors coffee when I'm playing clips like these, because, at some point I'm just going to do a spit take, and this whole show is going to go down because the electronics are going to fizzle because I'm going to spew coffee all over everything. This stuff's so funny.
It's deeper than them. I know. That's where they come from, and that's what they do. That's their country. I don't know what they got going on over there, but they can't do that over here. And if y'all just getting paid from it, and then
I don't know what they're doing over there in Haiti, but they can't do that over here.
Doing that about it, I think that's super.
Amen.
Weird, bro. Y'all got to stand on business. Y'all got to really step up. It's lame, bro. For real.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you for your comments. Excuse me. I speak jive. All right. Well, we haven't unlocked the bonus content yet, which means it's commercials for you. But don't go away, because when we get back, it's Maxim Lott. He's going to break down the election betting odds on the debate tonight and all of the latest polling between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Have we seen a Trump bump? We'll talk about that when we get back on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Years ago, we started this journey. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at ap4libertyshop.com. So head to ap4libertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit petersonvoicestudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP4 Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks, just pure patriotic pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at ap4libertyshop.com.
And the home of the brave.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. All right, we're going to have to put the discussion about the Flambe du Feline and the Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio off for a little bit later. Trust me, I've got lots more video and jokes and memes and pictures of cats that look like Donald Trump and things like that for us to laugh at a little bit later. But for right now, we've got to talk about something a little bit more serious for the serious-minded here on the Wake Up America show, which is the upcoming presidential debate happening tonight. The polls after Kamala Harris took over the Democratic nomination from Joe Biden showed a massive surge in support for Kamala Harris, born on the backs of voters who vote based on identity politics. Many of the people who had been supporting Donald Trump over Joe Biden, that were the minority voters that we thought might come along to us Republicans in the general election, well, they backed Kamala Harris. So does Donald Trump still stand a chance? Let's speak to a swing state voter from Pennsylvania, Maxim Lott, the co-founder of electionbettingodds.com, joining us live right now. Good morning, Maxim. How you doing?
Hey, Austin. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me here.
Glad to have you here, Maxim. So break it down for us here, how the polls have shifted from when Kamala Harris took over the nomination and surged into the lead to where we're at now. Does she still have that same momentum that she had coming out of the Democratic convention?
Yeah, so the momentum, the Kamala-mentum, as the press dubbed it, seems to have stopped. Basically, for the last couple of weeks, I follow the betting odds on electionbettingodds.com, where I aggregate it from all these different sites. And her betting odds, first of all, they went up a lot. The bettors were not expecting that. But then about 3 weeks ago, it stopped. And her and Trump have been really about tied since then. But there have been subtle trends within that. So 3 weeks ago, she was up a few points. The DNC was ironically actually where her momentum stopped. And she's just flatlined since then. Now Trump has taken a narrow lead in the betting. Right now we've got 50.6% chance that he wins compared to 47% for Kamala Harris. So now Trump is slightly favored. You can see that in the swing state map too. So Pennsylvania is leaning slightly towards Trump.
Oh, interesting. So, and the understanding is that Pennsylvania, if it does go to Trump, the odds of him winning go to, is it over 90%? It's like some massive percentage if he does win Pennsylvania.
It is. Yeah, and that's kind of shockingly high, but that comes from Nate Silver's model. I think the betting odds confirm that. Basically, if he wins Pennsylvania, the math lines up that he could win just Georgia and Pennsylvania, and Trump would win. So, and then even if he loses Georgia, he still has a pretty good shot. He could win Nevada and Arizona, hoping for kind of a Hispanic wave, or he could win like Wisconsin and Nevada. Like he has a lot of, even if he loses Georgia, he has a lot of combinations still with Pennsylvania. They just have a lot of electoral votes here.
Maxim, is there any congruence between people who are betting their own money and what the polls are showing right now? I know they tend to fluctuate wildly, but your website, electionbettingodds.com, tracks people who are betting their own money in international markets on what the outcomes may be. And then there are the traditional polls. Are they showing congruence now, or is there a wide gap between where people are putting their money and what people like Nate Silver and others are showing?
Definitely, I can see that the bettors are looking at the polls. And, the last few days, you've had a couple polls that come out that New York Times and others that have it basically tied nationally, which is not where Harris wants it to be because Trump has an electoral college advantage. And so I've seen, like, as the betting odds have started to favor Trump, that's happened along with those polls. One benefit of the betting odds is, you see a poll that says, okay, it's tied nationally. What does that mean? Well, the betting odds will tell you, actually, it means Trump is slightly favored to win. Nate Silver right now has Trump as a much stronger favorite. He gives Trump above 60%, I think. The betting odds are still saying it really could go either way. It's a coin toss. So it is interesting. They don't follow any one model or poll. They aggregate everything. And yeah.
You are a Pennsylvanian, and you'll be voting there in that swing state. Do you ever have casual conversations with your neighbors or friends or family and how they feel about this election? Any interesting tidbits or anecdotes that you might be able to share as someone who lives in a swing state?
I was driving on the highway the other day, and the Trump campaign did a pretty good job taking out the billboards there. And those were very noticeable. And they had kind of funny taglines. Like, it was like, Trump, endorsed by Dana White. which I don't know. I wasn't necessarily expecting that to be the billboard's tagline, or Trump protecting America's children. Again, kind of not the main political message, but I think they're going after not super political people who do watch, martial arts, or who really care about certain ideology in schools or the stuff. So it was an interesting messaging there. I don't know. I suspect kind of this state is where Trump was shot. I suspect, especially like around Western Pennsylvania, I wonder if there'll be like a turnout boost there. I think just that it happened here, it might have been a little more salient than out in Oregon or something. Yeah. So those are some quick thoughts from on the ground.
Maxim, are third parties impacting this at all? People like Cornel West on the ballot in certain states. I know I read this morning that in Michigan, for example, they're like forcing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be on the ballot, even though he's dropped out. But do we have any indication whatsoever that third parties might affect the outcome of this race?
It seems like the impact will be very small, if anything. When I look at the polls, I often see it'll be like, let's say it's tie Harris Trump 48-48. And then the same poll will add the third parties, and it'll be like 48-48 plus 2 for Jill Stein. So it almost seems like the third party voters this year are mostly people who just wouldn't vote otherwise. And at this point, because now that RFK has endorsed Trump and everything. And I did Michigan and North Carolina. RFK is still fighting to get off the ballot. The last I saw, judges had ruled in his favor. Now there might be appeals and stuff, but it looks like he'll be off the ballot in almost every swing state, which I think will help. I was talking with a voter who doesn't follow politics very closely, and she was planning to vote for RFK. And I think that kind of person, it matters if he's on the ballot, because you just go in, you see, oh, he's not here. Okay, I'll vote for my second favorite Trump. But if he's on there, maybe some people don't even realize he dropped out, I think. It's some people don't follow politics the way we do. So. Yeah,
that is funny. I run into stuff like that all the time. Like I'll talk to somebody and they'll say, "Oh, well, I'm voting for Gary Johnson this year in 2024," and I'm like, "No, you're not. You're definitely not voting for Gary Johnson." It could be a confusing process, and a lot of people don't even know that there are primaries. Right? They think that, voting only really happens once every 4 years on the presidential ticket. That's the only time that they vote. And they're always wondering, how do we get these terrible candidates all the time? Right? Well, it's because they didn't show up to vote like 2 months before, right, for the election season. But, arguments against democracy notwithstanding here, someone is going to win this election this fall, Maxim. And I know that you got burned on a bad bet when it came to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Yeah. So without any money on it whatsoever, Maxim, do you have any predictions on the outcome of the election this fall, personally, based on your understanding of the polls and electionbettingodds.com?
Mm-hmm. I was looking at the polling error in the last 2 elections, and this has been kind of a big talking point. The polls are biased for Democrats, and so I kind of systematically went through each swing state. How biased were they in 2016 and 2020? And what's interesting is Wisconsin is an outlier. In both 2016 and 2020, the polls there were biased by like 6 percentage points. So even though Biden won it last time around, the polls going in had him up by like 7, and he won by 0.5. So Wisconsin, right now, the bettors have it favored slightly for Harris, and the polls do too, but by like 1%. So my hunch is that maybe Wisconsin will go for Trump if there's anything like the previous polling bias we've seen there. So that's my, just from me, tidbit there.
That's interesting. I'm actually, right after you, I'm going to have a swing state voter from Wisconsin on the show, so I can ask him about that. But please continue. What were you going to say?
The other states, a few states had some like slight bias in 2016 or 2020, those being like North Carolina and Pennsylvania. So like maybe, give Trump an extra 0.5% there is kind of how I'm modeling it. But the other states, not much bias. So Trump's going to have to just be winning those in the polling average, which he is in some of them right now.
There we go. Is there anything that you think we missed or didn't cover in this conversation, Maxim, that you think is important?
Let's see. I think we got most of it. The debate is going to be super interesting. It's a rare event that will move the polls, and people are going to be watching, tens of millions. And I feel like it could go either way. The bettors certainly think it could go either way. I hope Trump can stay disciplined and not be too rude.
Yeah, we'll be watching to see what happens in the coming days to see what the debate's impact was on the polling numbers. Maxim, where can people follow your excellent work online?
Thank you. Yeah, electionbettingodds.com is where I aggregate things. And on Twitter, I'm Maxim Lott, posting live updates.
There we go, at Maxim Lott. Maxim, thanks for getting up early and joining us here and being so generous with your time. We appreciate you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Austin.
Thanks very much. Let's give him a round of applause. That's Maxim Lott.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lisa Hayes, and I am a resident of Springfield, Ohio, and I'm also a registered voter. Okay. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I'm a great-grandmother. I have family here in this town. You know, it's the first time I've ever spoke at the commission meeting, and I'm going to try to make it a good talk with you. Okay, I would like to know how many of you sitting up there tonight go into the grocery stores here in the city, Walmart, here in the city, to do your shopping. I'm going to tell you, 64 years old, and I don't know what kind of label you can put on this, but I'm taking my cart down the grocery aisle, and I have 3 immigrants strapped across the aisle. Seen me coming, would not budge, wouldn't even, and I said, excuse me. Maybe they didn't understand what I was saying, but I'm sure they understood that I was trying to get through that aisle. So I have no recourse now but to bust through it. I'm not afraid to do so. You know, I would like to...
Damn, Grandma, get them Haitian immigrants. Yeah. I'm going to bust through them. I can just see her just like ramping up her cart.
See them have some common respect, some common decency. Do not try to bully your way through Springfield, Ohio. It's not going to work out well. Yeah, I don't believe it will work out well at all. I have a 20-year-old granddaughter who works 2 jobs, pays city tax. I have a 23-year-old grandson who also pays city tax and federal and state and all the other stuff. She works 2 jobs. She's pregnant. It took us 4 months to get Medicaid for that young lady, and she couldn't have any of her tests done. I had to come up with $150 for her very first doctor's appointment. It's $150. Then I'm told that when she does get the Medicaid, they'll back it up. Are they going to give me my $150 back? I doubt it. I doubt it. And I know that's not your problem. That's a state problem, and I will address them. I already have. The other thing is that I sat down and I decided I was going to start emailing some of the higher ups to the state. Started emailing them. Within 1 day, they called me and said that they didn't have permission to talk to me because she's 20. I said, that's okay, she'll be home at 2. That morning, she received an automated phone call that she was covered by Medicaid since August 15th. All of a sudden, now she's covered. All of a sudden, now she can get the help. But we can't get through the doors of JFS to do anything. We can't get through it. The line is so long. And that's what we have done here in the city. We have just brought too many daggone people to come in here and be able to apply for free stuff. And here we are working, paying those taxes every week for what? What? So she can't get any help? So we can't get through the doors of Social Security so I can file for retirement? Doors are too, it's packed up there all the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Go, Grandma. Tell them. Now, the rumors that the Haitians are grabbing up house pets and barbecuing them is Feline Flambe. are being denied by mainstream media outlets, which means that it's absolutely true. Kidding. But of course, the left is going to freak out and fact check like crazy when people like J.D. Vance say things like this.
Unanimous consent to submit a letter for the record from the city of Springfield in our state, the southwestern part of our state, which I think highlights a very real example of this particular concern, straight from the horse's mouth itself. And now this letter, I want to quote from it. Springfield has seen a surge in population through immigration that has significantly impacted our ability as a community to produce enough housing opportunities for all. Springfield's Haitian population has increased 15 to 20,000 over the last 4 years in a community of under 60,000 previous residents, putting a significant strain on our resources and ability to provide ample housing for all of our residents. And end quote there. And Mike,
No objection. So
thank you. In my conversations with folks in Springfield, it's not just housing. They're trying to build 5,000 new housing units, which is a very Herculean task in a town of about 55,000 people. But it's also hospital services, it's school services, there are a whole host of ways in which this immigration problem, I think, is having very real human consequences.
That's Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, Donald Trump's VP pick. And of course, the mainstream media is all over it. Hannah DeMissy, for example, from ABC News, is on the case. The city of Springfield, Ohio, debunks the false claim being pushed by Vance in a statement to ABC News. You see, it's a false claim when ABC says it's a false claim. The police have said this: we wish to clarify there have been no credible reports or specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community. Say no credible reports. And of course, once the election is over, we'll find out that not only were they flambeing people's cats, but they were eating their dogs. They were breaking into little girls' bedrooms, and they were, cooking up their goldfish out on the grill. And the mainstream media will say, and here's why it's good that they're doing that. Thank you to Mighty Megatron and Joni Rankin for the Rumble rants. I did not see the video in question there, Mighty Megatron. If you want to send me, text that to me, that'd be great. If you can find it on X, that would be even better. Thank you to Joni Rankin for the $5. We appreciate that. How are we doing over on unlocking the bonus content? Are we going to have to play a commercial when we go to break to go get my next guest on the show? Have we raised enough? Let's see where we're at on the donations today. Let's see. We've got 5, 6, 7, 5, 10, 11, 12, $13 raised towards the $60 goal. We can do it. We can do it. Once we hit that $60 mark, guys, then you will unlock the bonus content for today. And instead of watching commercials, you get to watch fun bonus content about a story in the news that you may not have heard of. And we produce little 5-minute mini documentaries about that this morning. Morning Joe is on a tear this morning against the claim that Haitians might be eating pets. It's a ridiculous claim to assume that people who will literally eat each other, human beings, would be eating cats, because, that is ridiculous. Nobody would do that. Of course, it's racist, it's disgusting, it's sexist, it's misogynist.
It used to be, I think in 2018, 2020, the lie about immigrants and illegal immigrants, Caddy, was they were bringing leprosy to America, which, of course, they were not. Now it is that they are eating your dogs. Cats. They are coming to America and eating your cat.
No, fake news, Joe. You said dogs. We need to write pages and pages and pages about how it's not dogs. It's they're lying. We need to debunk the claim and fact check that he said dogs.
Don't live in Ohio with a cat, because it might get eaten, obviously, by
Little Mittens is going to be
it's
dinner.
Sweeping the country. It's a terrible, terrible thing. This is
how they kind of write off the problems of regular people, like that grandma in Springfield, Ohio, who literally can't walk down the aisle at her grocery store to get groceries, and her daughter can't get the medical treatment that she needs because it's all backed up in her community. This is how they write it off, and this is how the elite treat people like us who struggle with these kinds of problems in our communities.
Ridiculous and scraping the bottom of the barrel.
What's ridiculous? Bringing in a British lady to talk down on Americans, look down their nose at us is not a good look. It's like the worst thing that you could ever do. If you want to really piss people off, get a British person to say things like, "Oh yes, these Americans with their rights and liberties and freedoms. Let's just take their guns, shall we?"
And JD Vance has been, amplifying this, and it's being amplified. Apparently, this has gone crazy on the kind of right-wing social media sites, and it's the allegation. This comes with a very public health warning. Immigrants are not eating your cats.
Yes.
But the story is that Haitian immigrants are eating cats.
But they are eating the geese and the ducks in the local park, because there have been photographs confirmed showing Haitian migrants with geese who have got broken necks, and they're taking them. Do you know that? And this is not really the cause of outrage here, but it's the double standard that's applied. If you want to go hunting for geese in this country, say you want to go, I'm in Missouri, and say I want to go to Kansas and hunt geese, I will have to pay hundreds of dollars to get a hunting permit to go and hunt geese specifically. And then I will also have to pay assorted fees, state fees, and things like that, taxes on top of that, not to mention the transportation to get there and everything that I need to go and hunt geese. Meanwhile, a Haitian immigrant can go and grab a goose out of the local park or the duck, break their neck, walk away, no problem. This is the world that we live in. Canadian geese are federally protected, says Somniferum 75. Thank you for that reminder. This is why I love you guys sending me this stuff. Mighty Megatron has sent me the link to the cat. This is the cat eater. It's on rumble.com. Haitian caught eating neighbor's cat. Listen, I can't verify the veracity of this video, but we are going to react to it a little bit later in real time. I got to go get Sam Rogers. He's in Wisconsin. He's going to talk to us about what's happening in that swing state. Give us a little preview of the debate tonight. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Don't go away.
Cantina crew, this is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter, and I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing to do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than
well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian.
And always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? You can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins!
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Thanks so much for joining us live. If you've been enjoying the content so far, make sure that you click that like button. If today is your first time watching the Wake Up America show, click the follow button underneath the Rumble stream. Come back and join us for our regular schedule, Mondays through Fridays. 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a 2-hour live stream, a great way to start your day, along with a cup of our delicious Founding Flavors coffee. All right, well, it's time for us to stop talking about eating cats and dogs. Don't be too disappointed. I've got a great guest for you coming up. Swing state voters. We spoke to someone from Pennsylvania this morning about what it looks like on the ground out there, but he predicted that Wisconsin could swing in favor of Trump. Let's speak to somebody with their boots on the ground. Real Sam Rogers over on X.com. You can follow him there. He's an Army veteran. He's also a small business owner and a Wisconsinite, joining us live right now. Good morning, Sam. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. Wisconsin, very important state this year. And I just spoke to Maxim Lott. He does a lot of election betting odds as well as analysis of the polls. But I'd love to hear maybe just some anecdotal stories about how you're feeling about where Wisconsin might go one way or another. What are you hearing from people in your communities and your families out there? What's the situation on the ground in Wisconsin on the Trump versus Harris debate?
Well, I mean, obviously the sort of lead or the polling gap has oscillated between 1 point to 5 points. And it seems to change almost week to week. I think that Wisconsin is a unique place. They're since 2004, they've consistently voted for the winning candidate. That was the last time that they voted for an election loser, which was 2004. In outstate Wisconsin, it's become a lot more red. If you do what I call the supper club test, which is, going to the small towny bars or supper clubs around, rural Wisconsin, and, just strike up a conversation about, how people's lives are going, it very quickly turns to politics. And a lot more people are far more open with their support for President Trump than, really they were in 2020 or even 2016. California culture is about as far removed from Wisconsin culture as you can get, which, I think played somewhat into Democrats' calculus on picking up our neighbor state governor, Tim Walz, to try to appeal to people in the Midwest. I don't know how effective that is outside of the base, though, frankly, because of how progressive his record is. In addition to sort of the rapid alienation of the military community that we saw with all of the, maybe stolen valor, maybe stolen valor adjacent. I don't know what that is, lease to own valor or something. That really kind of put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Southeast Wisconsin, which has traditionally been the sort of red bastion, however, has also become more blue. Particularly during COVID, we saw, Democrats fleeing the municipalities that they shut down for these neighboring, the WOW counties, which traditionally decided, Republican elections in Wisconsin, have voted a lot more blue. In fact, some of them went for Joe Biden. So I think it's going to come down to Wisconsin independents. We classically have more split ticket voters than really any other Midwestern state. We elected Scott Walker and Tammy Baldwin on the same ticket. We elected Ron Johnson and Tony Evers on the same ticket. But I think for presidential years, we have pretty consistent top ticket winners. And we also have a U.S. Senate race with a pretty compelling candidate. Eric Hovde is running for U.S. Senate here. Just a really interesting guy. He's a business owner. He's survived a lot of adversity, thrived under a lot of adversity. Severe health issues. Runs a really great charity. For kids who have been trafficked. It's like school. It's like a school and a boarding house in a couple other countries. And so I think that all really puts Wisconsin in a position to potentially win for Trump to win Wisconsin. Independent voters are going to decide this, right? And independent candidates right now are in for former President Trump. Tulsi Gabbard and RFK. That's a pretty big thing for Wisconsin. RFK had a lot of support. I know a lot of RFK supporters. And his signaling for the Trump campaign is, even if it only provides a couple percentage points, could be the thing that decides this, which is why Democrats have sued to try to get the Green Party candidate off the ballot and then sued to get RFK on the ballot, which I think shows you that they know that they're very easily within the margin of a loss.
Sam, talk to us a little bit about your comments earlier. The Tim Walz stolen valor accusations is the way I understand it. And I want to get your take on this as a veteran. But the way that I understand it is that Tim Walz allowed people to make claims that he was a combat veteran, even though he was in the National Guard and he didn't deploy into combat. He never corrected people who made that claim around him, let them run with that claim. Does that reach stolen valor? Is there an obligation amongst military veterans if someone says something about you that's not true to sort of correct that record to ensure that you're not receiving undue congratulations? Or how do you feel about that as a veteran, Sam?
Yeah, so there's really three pieces to this that are all different and probably important to different groups of veterans. There's an account on X called Stolen Valor that's done a really great deep dive in his record. It's nonpartisan. The guy doesn't do political takes, but really kind of streamlines what is and what isn't. So the first piece of this is the rank issue. So he did not complete his obligations, both educationally and in terms of completing his upcoming deployment to retain the rank of command sergeant major, which is ultimately, I'm a former enlisted guy. That's sort of like the top tier leadership position for a unit for a non-commissioned officer. But he's continuously referred to himself as Command Sergeant Major. So his retirement rank was not Command Sergeant Major. His retirement rank, he was bumped down one to Sergeant Major, to Sergeant Major, I believe, or Master Sergeant. So, and, his congressional coin, which is, like a taxpayer funded trinket that they, hand out to make people feel good, has the Command Sergeant Major ranked on it, that he did not retire as, right? So that's one piece of it. There's sort of, some of the soft implications, letting people misstate that he was a Operation Enduring Freedom veteran.
And he did didn't he make a statement when he was talking about civilians owning AR-15s? He says that was really if anything, that's where he specifically crossed the line.
Absolutely.
Not just because
he carried a weapon of war. He said he carried a weapon of war to war. And that was a lie. And I totally agree. That's really the big one, I think, that stands out for a lot of people. And then the other piece is simply this, and a lot of guys from his unit have come out and talked about this publicly, is abandoning your guys on their first, war deployment. Again, this is, you've consumed at this point 24 years of training and benefits and have been selected to be the senior, your first sergeant, your NCO is like your mom in the Army, right? And your commander's like your dad, and so it'd be like, it's like you spend all this time raising and training and caring for these guys, and then when they go into harm's way, you leave because you want to run for Congress on an anti-war ticket. To that, that was very popular at the time. And so that, for me personally, I turned down one of my dream assignments in my second unit to extend to go to Afghanistan a second time because they got slated for a war deployment and I was in a leadership position and I was not going to let my soldiers go into harm's way without me. Like, I was going to be there with them because, like, that's what leaders do. And that's, for non-commissioned officers, it's a very serious charge. Is like, it's not just like the sort of joke about owning, you own, your government property. These people are government property, but like you take that very seriously. Like, I look at my soldiers like, they were my kids or my net. I took it very seriously, and I know a lot of Global War on Terror veterans did. And so that's sort of like a really big red flag for former military leaders is someone who would essentially put themselves and particularly a political opportunity ahead of their soldiers. And a bunch, numerous, I think it was 3 or 4 soldiers from that unit were killed in Iraq. The Gold Star moms said, even once he was in Congress, they never heard from him. I mean, they had an extended deployment. They spent 18 months out there, and they never heard from him. He didn't show up when his soldiers were killed. That to me was the really damning thing, aside from the explicit stolen valor of I carried this weapon in war.
I'm speaking to Sam Rogers. He's a Wisconsin native, an Army veteran, and a small business owner. We're talking a little bit about Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick. If you're enjoying that content, don't forget to click that like button. I think I cut you off there briefly, Sam. Did you want to finish that thought and then I'll move on?
Yeah, no, I think that's it on the military stuff. I don't think it helps her. Now, on the other hand, we've also seen some sort of unforced errors in the Trump camp that has really taken the heat off of Walz. The Arlington video. This is one of those things that's close enough that it could come down to unforced errors. And so, I hope we see more of the sort of more disciplined candidate we saw out of President Trump early on, because those kind of things, can ultimately be a decider.
Yeah, I think that it was obviously a far easier campaign when he was running against Joe Biden. But now that now that he's got Kamala Harris, the stakes have raised. exponentially. So I'm curious about your thoughts about a good strategy that Donald Trump might want to employ against Kamala Harris. Some pitfalls that maybe you think that he should avoid tonight, or what you're really looking and hoping for him to be able to accomplish this evening.
Yeah, I think, really what we're seeing is that, I mean, you and I know they've been hiding Kamala Harris for years, right? Because every time she's out in front and center, she does something real goofy and weird. And so, they're close enough to the finish line that they've tried to kind of speedball this. And so, doing this debate, A is crucial because, as we've seen, sometimes it just takes one debate to get a candidate out of the race entirely. Although I don't know if they could switch again. I wouldn't put trying past them. But, I think you're really not going to see a lot of media coverage of the fact that until yesterday, she had no policy positions. She had policy positions. They were tweeted out by campaign staff that she didn't believe in any of her previous policy positions. So there's no policy positions. There's no interviews. We get 10 minutes of her at these mega rallies, 10 minutes max. I don't know how much that normal people see, though, right? And so that's really the question. I think this debate, where previous years, I didn't really put a lot of stock in debates. But I think that's really where people are going to be looking, particularly after the previous debate took the last presidential candidate out. I do think this sort of Kamala pretending to be pro-business, pro-small business, I think that's the place for Trump to dig into, particularly for Wisconsin. Wisconsin works. We're a blue-collar working state. We're talking about someone who supported the California version of the PRO Act, right, who committed to signing the PRO Act nationally. The PRO Act is probably the most destructive business policy we've seen out of the left in, decades. Eliminates 1099 workers, side hustles. They passed it in California and immediately had to exempt like 80% of it because it was about to crush their entire economy. But they're still doubling down and saying that this is a national priority. Forces people to pay into unions even if they're not members. Forces businesses to give your personal contact information to their labor unions so that they can bug you politically or try to get you to join, menace your family, whatever. She's not pro-business in any way, shape, or form. In Wisconsin, for example, we did an advisory referendum. This was last year, April, should able-bodied childless adults have to work to receive state benefits? 80% of Wisconsinites said yes. It is the largest blowout ever. Now, of course, President Biden removed all the work requirements and the ability for states to enforce them from Medicaid. So they essentially took the gates off of the Medicaid program, which is it's devastating the economies of some of these small states, including Wisconsin, where small business owners simply can't find people to work. We, fortunately, in Wisconsin, don't have a Medicaid expansion, but the impacts are still indisputable. People are getting paid not to work, not single moms, not sick or disabled people. We're talking about able-bodied, childless white guys, right? Netflix and chilling day in and day out. You got to get a job, man. But the Biden administration took the guardrails off of Medicaid. And so I think that's where President Trump should steer in Wisconsin. These are policies that hurt every small bar, every small business, every family store who are struggling to staff up. While at the same time, Wisconsin's still like the 15th highest tax state overall. So we already have a high tax problem. We have an aging population. And it's not sustainable because young people keep leaving for lower tax states, better economic conditions. And we're going to see these same people who are supporting the Biden administration now and this Harris campaign show up next year and try to expand Medicaid in Wisconsin. And at that point, it's game over. It's tough to recover from conditions like that economically. So I think that's where Trump could dig in and really expose. She probably just actually doesn't know anything about business policy. But even if she does, the record of her administration has been extremely anti-small business, and I think that needs to get highlighted publicly, because people are going to be paying attention to this debate overall. And he's got to be disciplined today. There's a good time to be off the cuff and shooting from the hip and ripping and rolling, but I hope we see a disciplined debate today.
For sure. I'm speaking to Sam Rogers. He is a veteran, a Wisconsinite, and a small business owner, giving us a sneak preview of the debate tonight, what to look for. If you're going to be watching the debate, I'd love to hear from you. You can drop a comment in the Rumble chat or send us a text at 573-319-1586. Again, the text lines are open at 573-319-1586. What's on your mind, AP? I'm speaking to Sam Rogers right now from Wisconsin. That is a swing state, which will be very important to the election this fall. In regards to Trump going off the cuff, I mean, a lot of his supporters, Sam, really like that about Donald Trump. They like it when he gets off the cuff. They like it because that's what sets him apart from other candidates. I mean, you're telling him to kind of like not be Trump, you realize, for like a brief period, right? But then, so what? After he's elected, then he can go crazy, right?
Well, I think, I would say one of the things we have Wisconsin's got a bunch of never Trumpers, right? Just like every other state. Although now with Dick Cheney throwing in for Democrats is
completely and totally I could have seen that
so
coming.
Wild.
It is, but 10 years ago, I would have been like, what the hell? But now I'm like, yes, this makes sense.
Right. Well, it's very strange to see the guy, the party that's been calling for him to be like prosecuted for torture and war crimes for like the last 2 decades now bring him into the blob. I mean, nothing really defines a uniparty blob like a movement that stretches from AOC to Dick Cheney.
That's a great quote. That's a great quote.
Yeah. I'll say the other thing that's unique about Wisconsin in this situation is that I think Dick Cheney throwing in for Kamala Harris, I think Trump should highlight that because I think that helps him here. Wisconsin is a unique state. Wisconsin became notably and vocally sort of anti-war during and post World War I. But it really goes back to the sort of Scandinavian Lutherans and Protestants who settled here and were overall, like anti-war people. Trump's call to end endless wars and to hold the Defense Department accountable crossed so many lines in Wisconsin. And I truly believe that is one of the key things that got him elected in 2016, that realism and restraint in foreign policy, the walk softly with the big stick, have a strong, well-trained, well-equipped military. Wisconsin's also a manufacturing state, right? We like building things for our military here. We're also really good at it. But at the same point, we don't want to use those things all the time. We don't want our sons and daughters to go off to wars that are not explicitly and measurably in America's national interest, right? And I think that he's still the only candidate, especially now with the former Vice President Dick Cheney on the other side. He's still the standout alternative to unending war with everyone all the time for any reason. And I think that's a thing in Wisconsin that a lot of people don't think enough about.
Sam Rogers, tell us a little bit about your small business, or if there's anything else that you want to share or plug with our audience before we let you go today.
No, yes, Stratnet LLC. We do business development, strategy, and consulting. Reach out if you want to learn more about expanding your markets in Wisconsin or circumnavigating barriers to launching your business. But no, ultimately, I think I'm really excited to see where Wisconsin goes. As goes Wisconsin, so goes the nation. I appreciate you. I appreciate you paying attention. I will say both campaigns are paying attention to Wisconsin. This is not 2016, where I think Hillary flew over it once. The vice president or her vice presidential candidate are here. It seems like every week. Trump and JD Vance are here every week. Surrogates are here every week. But I'll say both campaigns are taking Wisconsin very seriously. They understand that it's going to come down to this state. And there's a lot of great people in some of our very important counties chasing ballots and doing hard work. In Waukesha and Brown County, Dane County, and Racine County, they're putting up a good fight. So, but I think this debate's going to really highlight who Kamala Harris is and what she's capable of slapping together. I will say I hope they check her for an earpiece. I'm just throwing that out there because I've just never seen her talk about anything important articulately.
Even if they do, if she has an earpiece and somebody says that, there's going to be 20 to 30 ABC News, NBC, AP articles that are going to fact check it and say, no, she was in fact not wearing an earpiece. And then way down at the bottom of the article say, actually, it's an IFB, which has a different radio signal than an earpiece. So,
but if she was going to wear an earpiece, here's why that would be okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Here's why it's good. She wasn't wearing an earpiece, but if she was, here's why it's good. Sam Rogers, when fall comes, the ladies have their pumpkin spice and the men have their flannel season. And since it was white boy summer, I'm calling it now. It's white boy flannel fall. Thank you very much for your time today, Sam. I hope you'll come back on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks, Austin.
Yeah, and we'll see you here real soon. Have a good one. Let's give him a round of applause. Sam Rogers. Make sure you follow him over on X at Real Sam Rogers. It's a great follow, and we appreciate him very much. Thanks so much. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Tonight, Kamala Harris releasing details of her policy positions for the first time on her campaign website. A K-file investigation has uncovered, meantime, a 2019 questionnaire. And in this questionnaire, Harris laid out some much more liberal stances, among them on immigration. So in 2019, in what K-file found, she said she would cut funding to ICE, writing, quote, "Our immigrant detention system is out of control, and I believe we must end the unfair incarceration of thousands of individuals, families, and children. I was one of the first senators after President Trump was elected to advocate for a decrease in funding to ICE." Well, now, of course, she's touting the Biden administration's executive order to crack down on the border. K-File's Andrew Kaczynski joins me now. Andrew, that's pretty incredible on its own when you're talking about what you found here on ICE. What else did you find?
Yeah, and this was a questionnaire that she filled out for the ACLU, and this questionnaire is really an interesting snapshot in time of that 2019 Democratic primary. Kamala Harris was trying to get to the left of Bernie Sanders. She was trying to get to the left of Elizabeth Warren, and you really see that in a lot of these answers.
Are you guys as shocked as I am that this is on CNN? Aaron Burnett has been holding Kamala's feet to the fire, not because I think that they want to have integrity. My belief is that the reason why she's doing this is because they want to ensure that she holds to her progressive bona fides if Kamala Harris, God please don't let it happen, becomes president of the United States. But I'm shocked that CNN's Aaron Burnett is calling out Kamala Harris's flip-flop on illegal immigration. You would be hard to think that you would come up with a taxpayer funding gender transitions for detained migrants. I kid you not.
I want to walk our viewers through a little bit of what she said. Let's just take immigration and look at what she said here. She said on immigration, she made this open-ended pledge to end immigrant detention. She said she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants.
I'm sorry, but what? Well, I'm sorry, but what? Hit every button on the board. That is a real thing. Taxpayer-funded gender care and transition surgeries for detained migrants. So in other words, mentally ill people from other countries who come to the United States want to come here and get gender surgery. They just have to come here illegally and they can get it for free. Oh my God. This is the video that I think Mighty Megatron sent to me. Allegedly a Haitian eating cat.
Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it?
They want us to shut up about illegal alien, Haitian migrants, of course, who are apparently eating people's pets and the ducks at the library pond. Why? Why should I stop talking about that? Well, you're going to get out there and demonize all of the migrants? Yeah, I don't care about demonizing migrants. They're eating people's cats. No, they're not. That's actually a right-wing conspiracy theory. Okay, here you go.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat? Smile for me. Smile with your teeth. Go like this. Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it? Did you guys see all this?
No, we pulled up and she was just laying there with me.
Did you see her eating it?
Eating it.
She was eating it?
Yeah, she was.
You call the Humane Society, see if they'll come pick this cat up. It's
Oh my God. I was told that there was no eating of cats. I feel like I've been lied to. What's up, Cisan Garoth? Nice to see you, Gannon. Good morning. Haven't seen you in a while, brother. I miss your face. Thank you to Megatron. I don't know why I'm thinking about the Jim Carrey Dumb and Dumber scene where they're talking about his parakeet Petey and got his head ripped off and he's like, our pets' heads are falling off. I don't know why. I posted this yesterday and it's still true. Even if the Haitians didn't eat the cats, the memes are still funny. Why are the Haitians there in the first place? Somebody asking the real questions here says, has anyone asked the Republican mayor of Springfield? Good question. I like this one. Don't eat me. Pretty bird. Pretty bird. Thank you, Megatron, for getting my Dumb and Dumber reference there. Haitians and Fauci killing dogs and cats. That's a good meme. Wait a minute. Pretty bird. Our pets' heads are falling off. I'm sorry. I just think that's so funny. Because there are no cannibals in America and the streets are filled with cats. Colonizers and Kamala Harris saying.
That is why also, starting with our administration, we gave TPS, temporary protected status, to Haitian migrants, 55,000. And then more recently, we extended temporary protected status to over 100,000 Haitian migrants for that very reason, that they need support, they need protection.
Somebody needs to play that clip on air in Springfield, Ohio, big time. That's a clip that needs to go viral. Reposting it. And I do love all the memes of Donald Trump where he's like saving the cats. There was one video yesterday that the left was freaking out about where Donald Trump was like running away from black Haitian migrants and he's carrying the cats as he's running away. And like the left is just like racist, racist, racist. I'm just like, this is some funny shit, man. I can't help it. It's funny. Everybody says racist jokes aren't funny, but I think they are. Cats after reading X today. See there. They know what side of the bread to be buttered on. Right here on the Wake Up America show, we are at the situation where we have not unlocked the bonus content. Yes. We are running way behind when it comes to unlocking the bonus content today. We've only got 30 minutes left on the Wake Up America show. Today might be the first time that we actually fail to unlock the bonus content, which would be, well, a devastating blow to my ego. Obviously. But also a scary sign for the future. Remember, we are trying to launch a network here, and we do need to be successful financially for that to happen. I want to have a string of unbroken bonus content unlock victories. I assume you do as well. So here's what I want to recommend. We've got to raise $40 more-ish to unlock the bonus content. Over at forlibertyshop.com, we've got a great new t-shirt in shop for those of you who are like me, big Javier Milei fans. An exclusive design available at forlibertyshop.com of Javier Milei minus Marx plus Milei. Recommend that shirt. You can, Dino Houston, you can make a Rumble Rant donation here on For Liberty on the Rumble chat that's called a Rumble Rant. In the bottom left hand corner, of the stream chat, you can see a little cash button. If you click that cash button, you'll be able to make a Rumble Rant donation to help us unlock that bonus content. Once we hit $60, you get to see that bonus content. Or if you make a purchase at forlibertyshop.com, then that is part of the unlock bonus as well. Really popular shirts, and I wear this one every year, and I always get looks and laughs from people, is my No Lives Matter Halloween shirt, which people really love. Remember when you see that price that is delivered to your front door? Thank you, Blutreich, for the donation. We appreciate that. If you want the link to the Javier Milei tee, I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat so you guys can grab it if it's possible. I know that it's hard to actually grab links from Rumble chats, but I'll do it anyway just in case. But the title of the shirt is called, so you can just type it in the search. It's called Less Marx, More Milei, Icon of Liberty t-shirt. So if somebody buys that one t-shirt, that will unlock the bonus content and we'll hit it. There you go. Courtney is wearing her No Lives Matter shirt right now, in fact, and it's really soft and comfy, isn't it, Courtney? I wear mine all the time. So check it out at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4, forlibertyshop.com. You guys will be able to unlock the bonus content that way. Oops, don't want to have that screen up there. Have that screen up there. There we go. Are you guys ready for something completely different here on the Wake Up America show? So, in recent news, good news for me, I have been bumped up from senpai and student of Japanese karate to full-blown instructor and sensei. Bow to your sensei. I've been hired as a professional martial arts instructor through our Jefferson City Parks and Rec program, which I've been taking classes with them for a couple of years, me and Stephanie. And I've been hired to become an instructor for a while on the Wake Up America, not on the Wake Up America show, but for our karate classes. And so I decided that I'd take some of the dojo to you here and to react to a video clip of a brutal assault, a brutal violent attack, and talk to you a little bit about how you can potentially defend yourself with my, I will say, limited martial arts knowledge. I have 20 years of experience in Japanese karate, but one of the things that you have to understand about that is that karate by itself is an incomplete system if it's not taught in the completely traditional way, which would include things like throws and slams and some of the more brutal and vicious attacks and defenses that you have in karate that most martial arts studios in the United States today do not teach. So that makes karate very incomplete for a full combat system, which would involve things like grappling and throws like you would have in judo or jiu-jitsu, for an example. So I just want people to understand that just knowing karate, for example, doesn't necessarily make you a Superman or doesn't mean that you know everything about self-defense, but I can teach you what I know from my 20 years of experience. We're going to react to this video in just a moment, but I see people are making Rumble Rant donations like Dino Houston. If you live in New York City, the second part of that username is actually not Houston, but there's a street named Houston Street. So, for example, if you go to Soho, that means that you are south of Houston Street. Hey, Dino Houston, how do you feel about being called Houston? Do you like that? Huh? You like that, huh? No, God, please. Will Run Riot says, should we call you Master P? No, that would be Shihan. And I am not a Shihan. I am just a sensei now. So you have to call me sensei. So bow to your sensei. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Grinning Winner 9 this morning on the chat. Nice to see you, Grinning Winner. First time here. And thank you for that generous donation. Says Rumble stock floating around $6. Rumble invest now and watch your money multiply. Absolutely. Good idea. I'll do that right after the show today. Glad to have you here. Obadiah says, hired to beat up lonely wives and frail grandmas on a municipal scale. Woot. Okay, funny, Obadiah, but it's not just lonely wives and frail grandmas. There's also little kids, too, in the karate class. So don't forget. All right, so let's do this react video. This is going to be a new segment that I'm going to start to do more semi-regularly, and I'll have a scene set up for it in the near future, where it's just me instructing you on some potential self-defense techniques that you will have when it comes to facing situations like this. Here we have a obviously mentally unstable transgender individual, I'm told by news reports in the area. You can see this person right here carrying an axe. Check out in the bottom left-hand corner here. Just standing there at a convenience station. Looks also like they've got a knife in their back pocket. Boom. Yeah, FYI, some extremely gratuitous violence in this one here. So 2 people just going about their day. And this person, the claim is, at least by the news reports, that, look at there, is that this disturbed individual was upset about being misgendered. Right there, and then they're walking away with an axe. Now, this person, this is smiling. Bad idea. Thank you, Will and Riot, for your Rumble rant. I think we're right around $40 so far with the bonus content, so about $20 more if somebody buys a shirt at 4 Liberty Shop. That will unlock the bonus content. But let's talk a little bit about the situation here in this convenience store. You have an obviously deranged individual. Why? How do you know that the person is deranged? It's not just the wild tattoos. It's just not just the blonde hair or wig. And it's not the knife in the back pocket, which you can't know, but the person is standing there carrying an axe. And you could see the axe down there in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Thank you to someone who just unlocked the bonus content there, you guys. Thank you for that. But you can see here in this situation, in this scenario, the mistakes that these people are making, the victims in this one, and I don't want to victim blame here, but I do want to suggest that the victims in this here, you can see now, this guy takes an axe, literally takes an axe to the face. Now, he is definitely going to need some dental work after this one. I think the lucky part about this one is that this transgender individual here is not strong enough to have actually buried the axe in their body. It would have been a lot more problematic. It would have been a real big issue if this person had buried it. But you can see right there that axe does hit them right on the chin, probably splits them right open, knocks them back. You can see the axe making contact, but doesn't dig in, thankfully. So apparently the swing was not perfected because it didn't land in any soft parts, seemed to have bounced off of the jaw, may have even broken the jaw from all we can tell. And then you can see this other individual back here up front with the dreadlocks gets an axe to the back of the head, boom, knocks them down, and then boom, gets the second chop. As the individual, I'm surprised that the individual with the knife, if they really wanted to like finish them off, she had that, he or whoever, whatever, they, them, Zazer, had that knife in their back pocket, obviously out looking for trouble. So what are the lessons that we can learn from here? One really is that you really just should not engage with individuals like this. And when I say that you should not engage, I mean things like you shouldn't really talk to individuals like this, right? And so I know that it can be funny when you're approached by a dude who's in hot pants trying to look like a woman, right? And comes up to you with an axe in their hand. But you know what you really need in a situation like this? You need space, right? You need to get some space between you and the individual. The thing is about a situation like this is everybody has this thing. It's called normalcy bias. And in normalcy bias, what happens is that you can see you're going about your day. You're not thinking that anything can go wrong. And so you act as if nothing will go wrong because nothing wrong has happened yet. And this normalcy bias can get you an axe to the face. When you see something that is unusual happening like this, for example, if I was with my wife in a convenience store and I saw an individual with an axe in their hands, you do not take your eyes off of that person at any point in time. I would obviously put myself in between the individual and my family so that my family could leave. I would tell my wife to leave, and we both have very good situational awareness. But in this situation, we have two victims with terrible situational awareness. This guy probably thought that she wasn't a threat. Maybe he didn't think that even that she had that in her hands. I don't see him looking down at any point in time, looking down to realize that that person has an axe, but it looks like he made some kind of a snide comment or a remark to this individual, which you definitely don't want to do. And the reason why I think so is because you could see him kind of smiling and then turning away from this individual with an axe in their hands, which is a really bad idea. And I don't know if the person with dreadlocks had seen that person as well, but the most important thing that I've learned in all of my self-defense training in 20 years is that you never, ever, ever turn your back or turn away from an individual with a weapon, or an individual who looks disturbed, who has that proximity to you. Never, ever turn away. Now, I've talked to you before a little bit about things like getting your hands up, for example, and here's a classic reason why, right? Look at his hands. His arms are down. He's on his left arm is on his phone, for example. He's not paying attention to what's going on. And by the time this axe hits him square in the jaw, it's too late. He goes down. And then you have the other individual who hears something going on, is oblivious. Maybe they've got headphones on and they can't hear what's going on. But then, boom, they've got this happening. When you see a deranged looking individual near you, you have got to pay attention. You have got to keep your eyes open and your eyes peeled. Look at this. You can see here the blood on the floor. I'll push it up here for a second so you guys can see what's going on here. But I just want you guys to know the key takeaway from this is two things. One is establish eye contact. Don't get into a shouting match with someone. Your ego is your enemy in situations like these. Analyze the situation. Do not make snide remarks. Keep your mouth shut. It's difficult for people like myself, for example, who have big egos, to keep our mouths shut. But if there's anything that martial arts has taught me, is not to have an ego, because honestly, I've got my ass kicked by smaller people that are smaller than me, right? But you just never know. And most fights, most attacks, assaults, I don't want to even call them fights, because this is not a fight. This is just a full-blown assault you have right here, right? And once this person comes into your proximity, you either need to get the distance here. If he didn't know that there is an axe in her hand and he didn't know that there's a knife in her back pocket, in that situation, like understanding the proximity and things like that, you want to get away, get some space between you and this deranged individual. And here you have this situation now. He's got to go to the hospital, right? He's got blood draining out all over the floor from his face. He might have to have dental work. Here you can see it from another angle. This person gets in his face and he turns away. And when he turns away, boom, right there. Keep your eye on the ball, less weirdo with the axe grinning winner. Thank you. Yes, completely agree. Then you go, see this individual coming over here. That person did absolutely nothing to them, right? It may not have made a difference. You may not have said anything, but that individual being deranged, right? And then you could see they're walking away. It looks like they might be going to pull the knife out of their back pocket. But I mean, keep your eyes on threats that are around you. Now, I would not recommend that you engage with an individual like this when they do have a knife in their back pocket. So that's the thing, is you might have said to yourself initially, oh, well, I'm stronger than this person and they have an axe. I can just grab the axe. And that might be true. But here's the problem. If you had tried to engage with that person instead of getting distance, look at what we have right here in the back pocket. He may have even known that there was an axe in this person's back pocket, but he didn't know. He probably absolutely did not know that there was a knife in this person's back pocket. And in this situation or scenario, if you had grabbed for that axe, all this individual would have had to do was drop that axe, let go. Okay, well, you've got my axe. And then boom, they would have just shivved you in the chest and the stomach. And then that person, instead of just getting an axe to the face, might have gotten a potentially fatal wound. And we don't know the situation of where this person, how this person ended up after this one, or what kind of surgeries they may have needed. But it's very likely this person was this person survived this one here. Courtney Conover found the story. Looks like the person was sentenced to 19 years in prison in 2019. Thank you, Courtney, for that. I'm just talking about the self-defense angle on this. But I appreciate you grabbing that news story here. I got this story this morning. But again, everybody wants to be a hero. Your ego is your enemy. Don't let your ego get in the way of you going home that night. This is a perfect situation where the best self-defense skills, as Mr. Miyagi said in Karate Kid, that movie actually has a lot of really good self-defense ethos in it from karate. Not a lot of like real karate in it, but a lot of good self-defense. Mr. Miyagi gave the most powerful explanation for the best style of karate. There is a perfect style of karate that is a complete system of karate that does supersede what I said earlier about it being an incomplete system if you don't have grappling. The best defense, no be there, right? There you go. Best defense, no be there. Best defense is no be there. Thank you very much, Mr. Miyagi, for the karate. You guys unlock the bonus content. I don't want to let you guys miss it. I'll go ahead and play it right now. When we get back, we'll say our goodbyes. Enjoy.
The Wake Up America Show's bonus content. Today, we look at the state of education in the United States. It may be the case that we have already passed peak public school. As the new school year begins for around 54 million children, a new post-COVID reality is emerging. The number of kids attending public K-12 schools will likely never reach its 2019 peak again. Homeschooling has nearly doubled, from 2.8% pre-pandemic to around 5.8% now. Decreasing birth rates also contribute to declining public school enrollment. The National Center for Public Education Statistics projects a 7% decrease in public school enrollment from 2019 to 2030, falling from 50.8 million to 47.3 million students. Despite declining enrollment, taxpayer spending on public schools is expected to increase slightly, from $693 billion in 2018 to 19 to $698 billion in 2030 to 31. This increase does not account for the $200 billion federal COVID relief injection, which led to the largest one-year per-pupil spending hike in 2 decades. Taxpayers are paying more for a service they use less, without considering the detrimental effects of extended school closures that did not significantly curb COVID spread but harmed children's academics. Charter school enrollment has more than doubled since 2010 to 11, despite efforts by Democratic politicians to restrict their growth. Families have been exiting government-managed schools for years. Traditional public school enrollment peaked in 2012 and has since declined by 5%, a trend likely to accelerate as more states adopt universal school choice for K-12 education. All these school choice states are Republican-run, highlighting the polarized landscape of education policy. Republican and Democratic platforms now starkly contrast on school choice and funding issues. Teachers' unions have heavily influenced the Democratic Party, pushing for policies such as mandatory class size reductions, which require hiring more teachers despite declining student populations. These unions also advocate for the Biden-Harris administration to erase student loans and enact favorable policies for union organizing and school staff rights. A significant example of union influence was Harris's selection of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her vice presidential running mate over school voucher supporter Josh Shapiro. The teachers' union's dominance is so complete that progressive publications celebrate their political victories, despite waning public support for public schools. When public school buildings become too empty, they must shut down. This reality looms as federal COVID-19 relief funds run dry and local governments face fiscal cliffs. Districts that embraced remote learning saw some of the largest enrollment declines, leading to more space than needed and higher operational costs. Public schools failed to fulfill their primary role, and as more taxpayers notice this failure, political and financial repercussions are inevitable.
Well, that is definitely a big white pill, as our audience noted this morning. Hope you enjoyed that bonus content. Thank you very much for unlocking it. I actually noted this morning over on our locals page that we got a new $50 a month supporter. My God, what are you people made of money? I appreciate you guys very much for supporting the For Liberty Network. Thanks to people like you, the Rumble ranters, the donors on the For Liberty Network, we're going to be able to bring you brand new, beautiful content coming this fall to the Wake Up America show. Brown Cow Now 4 joined us as a new one-time supporter at $50 level. Amazing. Guys, that's life-changing kind of money. Dino Houston, if that's you, brother, over there, thank you very much and very grateful. Our For Liberty Locals channel is going to be where we're going to essentially hub the new shows that are coming this fall. So the Wake Up America show already streams live over there. We're also going to have the Culturama podcast starring Daniela Pensack. And we're going to have Liberty Tonight starring Brian Piotr and King Libertarian. It's going to be awesome. Calville. That's the real question. Is you're going to homeschool or private? I really want to homeschool. Stephanie doesn't know if we're smart enough to do it. I think maybe she's right about that one. I'm not quite sure. Maybe do halves and halves. But God, I don't know. I feel like I could do a good job educating my child, except when it comes to like advanced physics or maths or algebra, things like that. So I don't really know. We don't know just yet. We're still mulling it over. But thank you for the question, Calville. And thanks for joining us this morning. First time I've seen you here in the chat. Nice to see all of our friends joining us over here on Rumble and on Locals, helping us to grow the channel, helping us to grow the show. You guys are magnificent, beautiful, and of course the smartest audience when it comes to live chat streams and things like that. It's only Tuesday, guys. We've still got a lot of week to go, but don't you worry, because Wednesday through Friday, I've got lots more great content to go. We've got Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning, great guests, great content, Freedom Family Fridays, Big Brain Time with the Judge on Wednesdays, Thirsty Thursdays. The Wake Up America show is a great way to start your day. Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. So if you have not yet already, please do click that follow button before you leave the channel today so that you guys can find us again tomorrow morning. I'm AP for Liberty everywhere. AP for Liberty on Facebook and X and Rumble and everywhere like that. So if you type in AP for Liberty, you'll be able to find me. Should be no sweat. As you exit, we like to joke, you will exit through the grift shop. Not the gift shop, the grift shop. That's 4libertyshop.com, the number 4. At the Grift Shop, you can get all kinds of awesome Javier Milei merchandise, like our new Les Marks More Milei Icon of Liberty shirt. But we've got a lot of great deals going on right now. For Liberty Halloween, you can get 10% off with the code PUMPKIN. Head on over to 4libertyshop.com and exit through that Grift Shop. We'll see you guys here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Bye, guys. Appreciate y'all.
And I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor of your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit petersonvoicestudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks, just pure patriotic pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise compromise your principles for a cup of coffee. Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.